Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome each and every one of you to our regular call board meeting. I just want to thank you for being here, and just for us to continue to work together in our district. We will have invocation, and after invocation, pledge. Can everyone stand? Father God, I just want to give you thanks for allowing us to be in this meeting tonight. I ask that we all listen to each other, work together, not for me, not for the board, not for the superintendent, but for the well-being of our children in Colleton County. And for the children, we put them first. We're not perfect, and we will not always make the right decisions. But if we bound together and be determined and trust and believe that all things are possible, then we can get through this. I just ask that when we make decisions, that we don't make personal decisions, but we make decisions on what is right for our children. And we have to realize that we can't think about the children if we don't think about our staff and faculty. That we all can work together, because together we stand, divided we fall. And we don't have to go home with each other, but if we work together and respect each other, respect will take us where money and education can. And I thank you, and I ask of these names, amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I make a motion that we approve the agenda. I will entertain a motion, please.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented. Second.
I have a motion and a second. If there is no question, all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you. I make a motion that, I entertain a motion that we approve minutes for our regular board meeting, August 15, 2023.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the minutes for our regular board meeting, August 15th, 2023.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If there is no question.
Madam Chairperson, I would like to make note that we will, I think, Ms. Sherrill, will soon receive the minutes for the other meetings of the month, the September 12th and 14th. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we continue on? All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you. I would like to discuss, we need to do certification for our delegation 2023 delegate assembly, and we will have to select a delegate and also an alternate. So the floor is open. I will give you the dates. It's for Saturday, December 2nd, 2023 at 2 o'clock. It will be at the Charleston Marriott, which is in Charleston. And I think the board, we have new board members, but I think all of you have attended the delegate before. I can remember Darrell and Scroble, so you have not, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The floor is open. Does anyone want to volunteer?
Third. Madam Chair, I can attend, but I've attended before and served as delegate, so if there's someone else that would like to, I would defer to someone else if they would like to.
I as well, Madam Chair. I do not mind doing that at all, but if there's someone who has not or someone who really has a burning desire to, I would defer to them, but I do not mind going to that and being a part of that.
Well, if we have a two don't mind, then we'll just go ahead and keep those two don't mind. If it's okay?
Yeah.
All right, so we have Sharon and Darrell. So Ms.
You need it to be official, make a motion.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that the volunteers, Mrs. Wicken and Mr. Irwin, be our delegates for the 2023 Assembly in Charleston.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Before we take the vote, which one wants to be the delegate and who wants to be the alternate?
I'm fine either way.
Be the delegate.
This is an easy night, I'm telling you, so. Okay, I'm going to put Darrell as the delegate,
Okay.
and you can be the alternate. Okay, we have this a little bit organized now, so all in favor of the vote, please, of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous, thank you. I'm going to give some updates on the conferences that I have attended. I was in Greenville August 25th through the 27th. This is one of the school law conference that wasn't as large as normal, but it provided us with very good information. The information was well accepted. Darrell and myself went, and I think I stayed half of Sunday, but was there the entire conference. They talk about different updated information that is going through the system. It discussed with us the Robert rules for school board. One of the other ones that I attended was knowing what to do, an important question that the board should ask about school law. We also discussed student discipline hearing. It was very informative. They had it to where this year, normally when we go, it's like 7, 8 sessions per day. And it's like you're never able to cover all of it. And I think this time it was like 3, 4 a day. So it gave you the opportunity to cover more. And that was more important because you could cover every session that was part of that conference. And the conference that I went to last week was Delegate. And it talked about some very interesting things. It was leading to model government civil engagement solution design exclusively to meet the need of public board. It gave me some input, in which I'm going to share with the board at a later time. It gave me some information productively on meeting, information on how to conduct a better board meeting. But the most important information it talked about board docs. And we use board docs, but it also we have the lowest grade of board docs. And they have it was 3 levels. And that pro level that they offered, it gave information that talk about cybersecurity. It talked about the easier process. It included finance. It included what the administrative does, giving a report, how if finance have their report together, they can submit to the secretary, she can merge it and submit it for the board. It's just that we're gonna have to, I'm sure that IS is gonna have to educate us a little bit more, but we will definitely have to use our computer. It will cut back on a lot of the paper, the copying that we are doing now. It's just that what I would like to do is to get a meeting so that at least the board and some of the department heads will be able to view the information that they will provide to us, and then we can hopefully make a decision on the direction that we will go into. Thank you for listening to me. That concludes the update that I wanted to give. We will now go into public input.
Madam Chair, before we move on, did you want to mention the regional advocacy?
Oh, those are some other stuff that I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I have so many things. The regional advocacy meeting, we have like 4 different meetings that will be taking place. But for Colleton County, our meeting will be on November 1st, and it will be here at the district. Ms. Williams, where will it actually take place? Are we going to have it here in the boardroom, or we're going to have it in a conference? Have we decided yet?
The boardroom has been scheduled.
Right.
Okay, for here. Okay.
It's been scheduled for here.
Okay, all right. Thank you. We already did the legislator, and we have also civility that is coming up on Thursday, October 19th, which is also a part of SCSBA training. It's a municipal association for South Carolina. It's a one-day event that will take place in Columbia. And we also have, that I don't have the information with me, Risty Business that is coming up. That is going to take place the first weekend of next month. So for those who have not registered and is interested in attending any of these events, please talk with Riddell so you can go ahead and get registered. Riddell does have all the correct dates. I don't know if we have, Riddell, are any of those still open, or have we missed the deadline for them? Because I know they changed the way of registration, and you have like closeout time, and you have to.
They have not closed risky business. That one's still available.
Is anyone from the district beside me is registered for that?
Ms. Robinson, our benefits coordinator, she always goes to that.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anybody else. And the Beyond the Basics, let's see, I don't think the registration is, registration.
You're going that way.
It's still open.
You're going that way.
It's $100 until October the 11th. After that, it goes up to $125.
Okay.
That's bringing civility to verbal conflict registration. To conflict.
So we all have the dates. If anyone is interested, try to see Riddell tonight and get registered, or if you need to review your calendars and make that decision, just let her know at least before the week is out. You said deadline, you don't have a deadline, but it's still open, correct?
Yes, both of those are still open. The one that is a deadline is the bringing civility to verbal conflict. The deadline is, well, it's not a deadline, it's just that you don't have to pay as much up to October the 11th. October 11th and on.
It has a price rise. Okay.
$100 until October 11th. And October 11th, I guess, until up to the date, it goes up to $125.
Okay. All right, thank you for that information. We will now go into public input.
Guidelines for speaking. There is nothing in the law or anyone here that prevents you from saying anything you wish to say. Please try to refrain from commenting on any pending student or employee discipline or grievance matter. What you say will become public information, which is subject to the Freedom of Information Act laws. If you choose to call specific employee names, we suggest that you do not. It is the board chairman's duty to inform you that you could also be subject to defamation laws according to your statements. Present your comments without using offensive language or making comments in a disrespectful manner. School district policy allows you 3 minutes for comments, and Ms. Sherrill will keep the time. Board members and the superintendent are not required to respond to your comments unless they choose. We thank you very much for your public input.
Thank you. I will now call Miss, is it Tabitha Pencil?
You mind stepping to the mic? Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm not Tabitha, I'm her mother. Tabitha's sitting back there.
Okay.
But I'm her spokesperson for the situation.
Okay.
I'm reading this and Tabitha wrote,
Before you start, will you pull the mic down just a little? Yes.
can you hear me now?
Thank you. I just
Okay.
want to make sure it's clear.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Tabitha has met with the principal. This is concerning her daughter, Gabrielle Davis. Tabitha has met with the principal and staff concerning Gabrielle at Carlton County High School. Gabby has a serious medical condition, and the school has been informed of that condition that she has, and she has been denied homeschooling. Okay, what Tabitha is asking for, Gabby has a serious injury. She has serious seizures, and she has brain damage. When Gabby get in crowds, Gabby get agitated, should I say? At school, she's gotten into several incidents. Kids has jumped her. She's a special needs child, but kids has jumped her. The last time that Tabitha informed me of what happened at the school was 2 girls jumped Gabby in the hallway. Now, Gabby brain's injury is like this. If someone hit her on that spot or hit her seriously, it's deadly for her. From what I understand, the school has been informed. Tabitha has visited several administrators and asked for help as to getting her at home school. Actually, she had an incident last week, I think it was, with a teacher. So what we are here today is to ask for help on getting Gabby homeschooled because she cannot be in a public environment with the other kids. Thank you.
Thank you, and someone will be in touch. Ms. Whitley? I got it.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm just coming in today. I spoke at last month's board meeting, and I also got in touch with the chairperson and a couple of other board members. I requested public input. I received an email saying that it would be discussed at last month's board meeting and that there would be a formal vote taken, and then I would hear back. Nothing was ever said. I know that it was on the agenda to be discussed in general or in private, and then when you guys came out, it was adjourned. I asked about it. I told I would receive a phone call or an email. I received an email, and it said that the board decided that they weren't going to honor the request. So my question is, was there a vote taken in private? Was there no vote taken, and it was just one person speaking for the whole board? What's going on? I know that we talk about parents getting involved. One of the things that I talked about was that there was nothing on the website stating how to get a public input request even done, so it's kind of done verbally, word of mouth. I know that the email that I received wasn't even stating the actual reason I wanted the public input, so my other concern was what was discussed if the reason given in the email wasn't even the reason that I was asking for one. So I know that if parents are going to get involved, there has to be some kind of movement when a parent comes to you about something other than you're going to receive an email and then you receive an email and it says, oh, well, sorry, we're not going to talk to you about it. So those were just my questions. Was there a vote taken in private? And if not, will there be a vote done, or are we just going to dismiss it altogether? Thank you.
Thank you. We will now have recognition, Ms. Wickens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, I call on Ms. Williams for the South Carolina School Board Association Boardmanship Institute Training Certificates.
Good evening, board members. Good evening to our district leaders and also to the public. Tonight, I am very honored to stand before you to present the South Carolina School Boards Association's Boardmanship Institute recognitions. So board members and leadership team training and development is a top priority for the South Carolina School Boards Association. Established in 1982, SCASBA's Boardmanship Institute offers a year-round training curriculum focused on leadership skills for board members on state and national educational issues. Colleton County School District, along with the South Carolina School Boards Association, are always pleased to honor those individuals who have reached one of the 6 levels in the Boardmanship Institute. Points are earned and are rewarded as follows. If our board member receives 25 points, then they reach level 1. If they receive 40 points, then they reach level 2. 100 points, level 3. 200 points, level 4. 300 points, level 5, and then the highest points that you can earn and level that you can earn is 600 points, and that is level 6. This is the highest level, and in order to achieve this level, the board member must have received the level 5 recognition for 1 year and passed the online test. So we want to, tonight, congratulate those board members who have reached a new level in the fiscal year 22-23. So tonight, we would like to honor 3 of our board members who have reached new levels. And as I call your name, we ask that you please come to the podium so that you can receive your certificate and your awards. The first board member that we would like to recognize tonight is Mrs. Lynn Strobel. Mrs. Strobel earned 25 points, so she is now at level 1. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right. Our next board member to be recognized tonight is Mrs. Mary Jones. Mrs. Mary Jones earned 100 points, so she is at level 3. Mrs. Jones will not only receive a certificate, but she will also receive a gold pin.
Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I ain't seen you in a while. Thank you.
Here you go.
Here's your pen. Well, thank you.
I think we're going to get a picture.
All right. Thank you.
And last but not least, our third board member who will be recognized tonight is Mrs. Sharon Whitkin. She is also at level 3. She earned 100 points, and she will receive her certificate and a gold pin. So I just want to congratulate our 3 board members again for reaching those new levels for the 2022-2023 school year. And I want you to know that, as I said before, level 6 is the highest recognition in the Boardmanship Institute. So if any of our board members reach that level 6, they will notify you themselves, and you will be awarded at the SCASBA's annual convention that will be held in February of 2024, and you will receive your plaque and other goodies that they have to share with you at that time. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Madam Chair, that completes our recognitions.
Thank you, Ms. Wickens. We will now discuss old business.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the first thing on the agenda, 5.01, last week I petitioned you to purchase a vehicle to be used by staff for out-of-district travel to state trainings and conferences. And upon further review, after we reviewed it, funds were already approved, and I think it was pointed out by one of the board members that funds were already approved in the capital projects budget to purchase a vehicle for buildings and grounds last year. So I am rescinding the new request, and we will purchase the vehicle that was already approved for buildings and grounds, and we will share that vehicle with this department. So this will grant the district a considerable cost savings, even if you approved it, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm rescinding that request, and we'll just go ahead and purchase it using those funds that were already allocated, and we'll share it with that department.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the list is, last week I also presented the 2024 schedule of board meetings to you, and I'm asking for your approval tonight.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the Colleton County School Board schedule of meetings for calendar year 2024 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If there's no question, all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, you did not? Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All opposed? We have one opposed, and we have 6. Okay? Thank you.
All right, Dr. Reed.
Good evening, board members. And just like last week, we are continuing our request for public input on the ESSER 3 plan. Every 6 months, districts are required to gather input from our public and our constituents so we can update our ESSER plan. We are asking everyone to go to our website and just put in ESSER 3, and the updated plan will come up. Please review that plan, and any comments or suggestions can be emailed to esser3@colleton.k12.sc.us. That's ESSER i at colleton.k12.sc.us.
And Dr. Reed, how long do they have to do that?
Until September 22nd, please.
September 22nd.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no new business, so we will go through policy item. Mr. Murdoch.
Oh.
We have several policies that for, this first, second reading?
First, well-
First? You never did second reading? Okay. First reading for Policy DKCR, expense authorization and reimbursement. Do we have any questions on that? Comments?
Mr. Murdock, just that there are a number of highlighted items on here, but there's also some descriptors and prompts that were used in the discussion from the policy committee. Is this what we are expected to approve with these question marks and prompts, or will we have a more definitive draft?
I think we were supposed
It was
to
supposed to.
get one,
Yeah.
some,
Yeah, so I can answer that question. So I know that when we talked about these policies, there was some language that the attorneys were going to go back and add per the discussion that we had at the policy committee meeting, but I don't think we received all of those additions yet. But, yeah, so there was some language that needed to be added.
but we need to table it until the next meeting, then.
And Tom, can you address any?
You want me to address what they
I
were?
think she was talking with the attorney. I don't think he's up to date with what was going on, so.
Well, I can tell you what I have from my notes.
Okay.
Some of the things that needed to be done. So with the first one, policy BD, organization of the board, I don't think there was anything that needed to be changed on that one. That one was very much streamlined. That one is pretty much good to go, policy BD. Policy DKC, authorization reimbursement. I know that we talked about that last sentence that says if cancellations are necessary, the employee or board member may be responsible for reimbursing the district for monies not refundable. And the attorneys were going to include some language about special circumstances, because sometimes employees may run into special circumstances. Additional advance. And then there was also a question about, it said the district will not provide additional advance funding. And then there was a question to me, is this preferred instead of approving up to 75% advance funding? And my recommendation was to do away with the advance funding. That was my recommendation.
Ms. Williams, as you proceed, I think you're providing useful information, though most of it could be found at the committee meeting video. I have to say, this is disappointing in that we have policy specific that we cannot pass policy for first reading unless it's at a regular scheduled board meeting. This is our regular scheduled board meeting for the month of September. To be presented with drafts that are incomplete, it prohibits us from getting the business of the board done. And so at this time, Mr. Murdock, if I may, I would like to make a motion to approve policy BD, one of the few that are complete and had no additions. There were strike-throughs. There's no highlighted or red marked changes to this policy, and I'd like to make a motion to approve for first reading policy BD.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there is any discussion.
I have one thing. On this one, this is the one that I don't agree with. We had talked about running it for 2 years as a chair. So, we're not going, in other words, I don't agree with the way it's written.
And this is BD that you're in
Yeah.
disagreement with?
Yeah.
And what I was told, I mean, when we have the first reading, and attorney, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the first reading can continue on, it's just that there has to be adaptability changes that can be done before you seal or accept that particular policy.
Well, we didn't receive any updates from the attorneys. So, from my understanding, after we had the meeting and then we made recommendations, and the attorneys send the updated policies back to us, so we haven't received anything.
Am I on? I'll certainly follow up with my law partners on that. I'm covering for them here tonight, and we'll make sure we address all that promptly.
Pardon me, I feel like the question, if I may, Ms. Simmons, was that if we do pass first reading,
Sure.
we can still amend it before the second reading.
Amendment is always,
Right,
yeah.
which it could be in October, at the next regular scheduled board meeting, correct?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Murdoch, since you are in control of the policies, you are the chair for the policies, do you want to table all of them until further notice? Or, I know we have a motion on the floor, but we can rescind that motion. If you want, I'm going to let you make that decision.
Well, if first reading, we can always change it next time. I'm okay with that.
So we want to go with the first reading for BD, and then we want to table the rest until further notice, or what would you like to do?
Well, all of them first reading, so if we want to go ahead and vote on them and pass them for the first reading, we can do that, and we can change it at the next meeting.
So, to the board, is everyone in agreement with that? Go through your first reading and wait for the attorney to give us an update?
I can do that.
Okay. Okay, so since we have a motion on the floor for BD, all in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Mr. Jones? What you not? Okay, so we have 5, and all opposed? Ms. Mary, did you vote for it or against? Okay. 6-1.
6-1.
First reading.
So, Madam Chair, if we were in agreement, Mr. Murdoch, please correct me if I'm wrong. If we're in agreement to accept the first reading on all of them, can we just do that all in one motion on all the rest of them?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept first reading on the remaining policies, policy DKC, policy AR-DKCR, policy GC, and policy GCA.
Can I get a second,
Second.
please? I have a motion and a second. If there is no question.
I have a discussion, and that is to say just that we have specific policy that requires that the only time we can change or alter policy is at the regular scheduled board meeting. So to ensure that we are up to date on these changes, specifically those that are asking our district the specifics, so we can have a policy before us that is clear and concise and, presents the policy as we want to move forward with it. I'd like to request that we get these policy drafts before the meeting so we have time to review them. Thank you.
And I just want to, there have been attorney who was out sick. I know there was a lot going on in the firm. I'm not making excuses, but I know that it has been a lot going on. So if I need to, I will reach out to them as well to make sure that our next meeting, before our next meeting, that we will have the draft that is necessary.
And again, Madam Chair, I would defer to Mr. Murdoch as chairman of our policy committee. But I think the policy committee was in agreement with the majority of all of these policies. So I think what we're talking about now is just getting the fine details kind of hammered out. So I don't think there's anything in here, at least from the policy committee standpoint, that there's going to be any major changes. I think we just need to kind of hammer down some of the fine details.
Dot your I's and cross your T's. Right. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you. We will continue on to Superintendent report. Ms. Jones. Ms. Williams, please come up.
Good evening again. All right. Tonight, the superintendent's update will begin with a presentation on our parent university, which I spoke of at the last meeting. And at this time, I'm going to ask if Mr. Edward Jones, our secondary technology coach, would come to the front to do the presentation.
Ms. Williams, while he's coming, is this something that we have a copy of? Do we have a copy of this presentation?
No, he's
Okay.
just gonna go through the site
Okay.
itself, right? He's going to actually go through the site itself to show you how it works.
Got you. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So about our parent university, the thing that we really want to do with our district and communication, we want to be transparent. And we feel that our parents, because we know they access our website to get district updates quite regularly, we thought it'd be a better mode to actually, in that website, embed something specifically for them through our parent university. Now, the presentation that you are now watching, that schoolhouse is actually interactive, so if you click on that for me, that school becomes a link that you can actually get directly to the site. We built these sites using Google Sites, which is through our Google platform, which we're using not only to deliver this product, which is our parent university, but also ways we can use it to tie into our instruction. Now, when we're talking about parent university, we wanted to make sure that we are meeting the needs of all of our parents. We know that we have multilingual parents here in the district. So when we put things up on Parent University, we try to put them up in the languages that we know that are represented in our district. For right now, we know that those languages are mainly English and Spanish. So things that we put up on Parent University will come in that Duolingo format. With this is our initial page. Up top, you see that, well, you probably can't see from where you're sitting, but we have different pages. We have our home page, a page specifically for parent resources, a page for district-wide guidance, because we know that parents maybe want to reach out to guidance counselors about specific questions for student academic concerns. So we have that place there. We have events. That's usually where our school year calendar is housed. Schools are also able to provide us with information that they want to put on for events, like if Bells is having a specific PBSS, if they let us know that, we'll get that, we'll put images with it, and we'll put it up so parents and the community will know. On our homepage, right where the screen is set now, we have our state standards for education. We have them both in English and the Spanish format, so that parents can actually look at the standards at home and then be able to better help and support their child while they're at home. And this is all on our main homepage. And then at the bottom, we have this image that says parents and teachers working together, creating change. It's all about empowering our students, making sure that they feel represented, that things that are happening in the classroom, as those things are being reported out to their parents and to all stakeholders in general. Also, will you please go to that district-wide guidance for me? It's at the top to the right. There you go. Here we have about our CCSD guidance. Our students are in full bloom. We have our Director of Student Support Services up there, Dr. Khadija Jenkins. As you go further down the page, we try to make it we try to make it parent and kid friendly. Those are our different schools, the respective schools we have in the district. Those buttons will actually click and take you directly to a school's link. So if a parent has a child at Hendersonville, he or she can click on that button. It'll take them directly to that guidance counselor at Hendersonville. And they have another student at the high school. Again, they click on that button. It takes them directly to the support that's at the high school. And we know that schools like TCTC, they share guidance with the high school. So all of those and CAS, they are all tied in together. Here you can see, as we have on the screen, we have middle school guidance, and then we have CCHS guidance, that's grades 9 through 12. So again, if parents are looking to access a guidance counselor for whatever reason that's specific to them, that's a direct link to them without having to try to comb through the staff directory, make sure they have the right name. This takes them directly to a page that has their information linked there. And then when we go to can we go to that parent resources page? We work together and we work in connection with all departments in the district, especially with our department that deals with our social service and family services. We try to get a lot of resources from them, mainly ones that can help parents support students outside of school with a lot of reading. Here we have some reading sites and some actual work sites that students can do at home, and parents can aid them and guide them in that work at home, because we really want to keep fostering education and growth throughout the course of the child's total life. Here we have some information about Title I and parent engagement resources. We have those both, again, in English and in Spanish. We want to make sure that all parents are able to receive the same information, because remember, it's all about make sure that the students have the best option to be successful here. And then we have, as we further go down the page, you see that we have them there in Spanish. And then click up there for events for me. Right now, this is what it looks like. Again, parent and kid friendly. We want people to think that see that things are coming to the district. It's an upcoming event. We are all looking at what's happening. It's our 2023-24 school calendar. We don't have that in Spanish. They didn't translate well enough for us to put it there, but we have people in place that will be able to support us there. We also have important dates to remember. I know that the next thing that I'm probably going to put up will be those 3 days that the kids are having out in October. They are waiting on that, and I'm pretty sure for parents to see that on one site without having to catch it in the wind. You know, when you catch it off the site, it's actually there, it's firm, it's credible, it is what it is, as opposed to hearing it third, fourth, fifth hand and things get changed and lost in translation. And then you see there we have something that says past events. What we do is we try to regularly update Parent University, because things that happen in September no longer need to be upcoming events. They need to be past events. So, and if we have, just say we have a parent night in September and then we have another one coming up in December, on the past events we can put parent night September 15th, 2023. Don't miss the one in December, and then that'll come up again in upcoming events. And then lastly, our events page, our about page, excuse me. And that basically tells you who we are and when we're talking about a district and what this really is. It's about us all working together, different groups of people that look differently, that come from different educational backgrounds, come from different languages, different locations, all working together. Because the purpose is that we want the district to have the responsibility to provide a world-class education to the whole child. The whole child. And this is a part of providing that world-class education. Make sure that parents don't miss out. Because sometimes, and I was one of those students, things got lost between my book bag and my house. So here, it can't get lost because the students are not in control of this site. And that's just who we are, interim superintendent, myself and Ms. Mary Jo Fox, who is my counterpart. She does elementary instructional technology. And I know this is about Parent University, but we have a teacher university version of this as well. It provides information like the In the Know memo, teacher resources through the State Department of Professional Development opportunities, and we also have places where we just highlight our CCSD staff from all buildings, not just the middle of the high school.
I have a question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
As a parent, I'm home in the afternoon. All the offices are closed. Is there a spot on the website if a parent need to reach out? May not have I wouldn't say a phone, because if you can use your computer, you will be able to reach out. But if they just want to send like an email to the teacher or maybe to the district, is there a possibility on the website?
At this point, we don't have that, but that's just a quick installation of a button with some forms behind that, so we can have that happen. I think that's a very good idea, because maybe some things come up spur of the moment that need to be addressed or need to be mentioned, and we might need to have information on that. So we can look into creating that, and then we'll put that in our next iteration of the website.
Yeah, and I just asked that question because we do have parents who work wee hours. They're not home doing the operational hours of the district. And just in case they need to send some information or concern, just that they could have that availability, even like for an update on PTO meetings, or they miss a meeting with the teacher, hopefully they can get the information that they need, just in general.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want any parent to be without the information that is needed.
And I'm sorry, I'm writing this on the best piece of paper I have, which is my hand. I can lose paper, but I can't lose my hand. So I'll make sure to put that on parent email button. Got it.
Okay, all right.
And I know as an elementary parent and middle school parent, often Dojo serves that purpose, but I know that high school does not have that. So
Correct.
that's definitely something, as Ms. Simmons mentioned, that would be helpful for parents. And just wanted to point out, thank you for all the information, that we spoke of this at the last meeting, and that was if you just go to the website and you say, I am parent, then you'll get to the Parent University.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Humphreys, can you simulate that for me? Go to the district's website. I am a parent, and then on the bottom, should be on the left-hand side. The last link there is Parent University, and then when you go to I Am a Teacher, there's a link for Teaching University as well.
And Power School, which was so important in what we were referencing
Yes.
last week. So everything a parent needs is on our website, very easy to be able to access the Parent University, but also Power School, attendance, grades, the whole shebang.
Yes, ma'am, and in the event that a parent accidentally finds Parent University and say, oh, I don't, this is the page that I need to go to Power School, there's a Power School button right on the first page, so they don't have to worry about being in the wrong place, they're just in another right place.
Thank you for your work.
You're welcome.
Mr. Jones, I like it. I think the more we can do to make it easier for our parents to access that information, I think would be good. I think just two quick suggestions. I think maybe if we can also make this a place where I'll email them to you. You don't have to write them down.
I got paper.
The first one is if we could also duplicate the important messages that we put on our inclement weather, we're closing schools, those things. That way parents aren't having to go to two places. If they can get to the point where Parent University is their go-to, let's just make sure we duplicate those messages. And the second thing I would say, let's make Parent University the place where our parents go to. Mm-hmm. And so in order to do that right now, I think the URL is sites.google. Mm-hmm. Maybe our IT department can help us. I think for probably 10 or 20 bucks, we can buy a domain specific, CCSD, Parent University, or whatever. And that way we have a very specific domain that our parents can know this is our page. This is where we go. Power School, emergency memos, all those kind of things. So if we could do that, I think it would be even better. And then we could, in our future marketing and stuff, we can promote that specific domain website and just make it a bigger thing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your hard work.
Yes, sir. And same thing for the teachers.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yes. All right. No, any other questions for me? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just want to thank Mr. Jones and Ms. Fox because this has been a project that they've been working on for a while, and we've been talking about it, and they made it become a reality. So thank you so much for your hard work. Do appreciate you. At this time, I will ask Dr. Baddock if she will come forward to give you an update on the stadium banners.
Hello again, everyone.
Hello.
So we have the two banners that these are the final copies of the mock-ups that we received. And the intention is to hang, they're huge. You know, the backside of the bleachers when you drive into the stadium, they would cover that entire space. So in terms of dimensions, it takes, each one of these windscreens is 35.5 feet by 18 feet, and each side has two. So they're quite large. And I think it's important, for everyone to understand that this project was already approved in the 2024 budget as a capital project. And the intention, Coach Alston brought it to us, and he's really trying to cultivate a sense of pride in our students, pride of the district, their facilities, the stadium, and our athletic programs. And I think it's wonderful. Other districts have them. I think it's going to be very grand when you pull down there and you see that. I did make a copy in case you guys wanted to see it of the cost as a refresher of the screens, even though they're already in the budget. I'm happy to answer any questions. Mrs. Strobel, I'm going to give these to you if you just pass them. Everybody can just grab them. Invoice that we received.
So, Dr. Baddock, can you just clarify for me? So this is two banners, and they're both going to be hung on the back side of the home bleachers?
Correct.
So they're splitting?
Correct.
Okay.
So that center part splits them, so it's one on each side.
Gotcha.
And I like the design because you could see it's the state of South Carolina with the cougar head, and I think it'll be really clean and sharp. I can say this because I did not pick them out, but I do think that they're really spectacular, and I think they're going to make a big difference on that field for our kids. And we put it on pause, if you remember, because we had that whole discussion.
Yes.
So. About the field, Mrs. Strobel.
Yeah, we're trying to
Giving me a
decide
puzzled
what we're
look.
going to do. So It's not going to change the name of the stadium.
Right. So as long as you guys don't have an objection, since it was already approved, we just want to move forward with placing the order.
I just want to say that I think, completely trust our athletic department and their efforts to brand. And I think that's kind of to create a uniform look so that I know that the banners and the door signs and, in the athletic department are very distinct. And so the continuity of that, and as we talk about, what our students wear, with the CC, that emblem, the more repetition and use we have of that, the more I know it's not necessarily trademarked, but, it is our brand, and it's something to be proud of. So I'm happy to hear about their efforts and trust their judgment on these choices.
Thank you. I agree. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Baddick. I have two additional updates, board members. As you know, we are preparing to open an elementary alternative school setting program for our students who need that additional support. And one of the strategies that we are employing as we design how that program is going to look is to visit other programs across the state. So I just wanted to let you know that a team of district staff will be visiting the Liberty Hill Academy in North Charleston on tomorrow. And also, we will also visit the restorative practice-based program called Reset in Richland 1 on October 5th. And I just want to thank Dr. Cordelia Jenkins and also Mr. Wesley McNeely for getting all of that set up for us and their help in making sure that when we do open this, that it's going to be it's going to be done by state regulations, and we want to do it right. So thank you to those two team members for helping us with that. And then lastly, I would like to petition the community for their support. We as a district we're seeking to address some of the issues that are occurring at our secondary schools with an uptick in physical violence and physical altercations. Because of this, we instituted a zero-tolerance stance to fighting and physical violence. Within our strategic plan, we list several core values. One of those core values, and tonight I want to talk about two of those core values. One of those core values is our core purpose is teaching and learning. Teaching and learning. That's why we're here. That's why schools exist, for teaching and learning. And then our second core value that I would like to emphasize is a safe, secure, and positive environment will be conducive for teaching and learning. So what these two core values imply to me is that we are here for teachers to teach and students to learn, and we as a district must create a safe, secure, and positive environment in order for that to occur. So I'm appealing to all of Colleton County. All of Colleton County. Let's support our schools. Let's support our teachers. We're better than this. We don't need to be in the news for physical violence, for having to lock down our schools because of fighting and different things that are going on. Let's unify. That was my message that I gave when the board appointed me in this interim position. I asked the community, let's unify and let's work together because it's all about the kids. And I just want to say right here that I grew up right here in Colleton County. Colleton County is my home. I attended schools here. I made some very lasting relationships in my school years, and we never, in my years in high school, middle school, we never had the fighting and the different altercations between students that we're having now in our schools. But it takes all of us working together. It takes parents emphasizing to their children the core reasons they go to school, and that is to learn and to graduate with a diploma in order to further their education and to further their career goals. It takes teachers doing what they do best, which is teaching our students, using their knowledge and expertise, and being open to learning new things for greater student outcomes. And it takes leaders such as myself, such as the Superintendent's Council, such as all of our district leaders, taking a stand and saying, Colleton County is better than this. We're better than this. I want to petition you to institute a district-wide mentoring and monitoring program for our district to help support our students with issues they may be encountering from the outside. We just live in a different world, and our students are encountering different issues and different problems. And it's not enough for us to look and say, oh, those kids need to stop. They need to stop the fighting. We have to do something about it. We have to take a concerted effort to help our students to deal with some of these pressures and some of these things that are causing inappropriate behaviors. So I have spoken with several business leaders and several private business owners in this county, and they are ready to help us, but I need the support of everyone to move forward. So I'm petitioning you tonight, and if you give me that support and you give me that go-ahead, I will move forward with getting our different organizations and different businesses together to come up with a mentoring program and a monitoring program to help our secondary schools. This concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Madam Chair, I don't have any, excuse me, I apologize. Superintendent Williams, I don't have any objections to what you're doing. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for putting this zero tolerance in place. I really think that this was what was necessary. We talk about educating our children, that comes first, but we have to put them in a safe environment first. If they don't feel safe, they can't come to school and learn. And it seems to be the biggest complaint I'm getting these days is the children don't feel safe. And I would like to echo what you said. Exactly, the parents must step up to the plate. We cannot discipline their children at the school for them when it comes to teaching them to not fight. The parents have to talk to their children before they come to school, and it gets to a point where they feel like they're willing to lose out on getting their education over whatever it is that happened over the weekend. I know we had several altercations involving multiple students, and it just blows my mind that a schoolhouse fight is more important to them than getting a free public education. The actions that they're taking now are essentially affecting the rest of their lives, and their parents need to talk to them about this. We, as a school district, are going to do everything in our power, which is taking a zero tolerance stance against violence. And once again, thank you for that. But we have to work as a team. We can only do our part. Parents have to come to the table and help us out. Instead of jumping on Facebook and asking us what we're going to do about the violence in the school.
Thank you.
Ms. Williams, what would you need from the board to move forward with mentoring and monitoring?
Well, I'm going to start with business leaders coming together so that we can talk about it, because I don't want it to be a plan that I put together. I want it to be a plan where our community comes together and says, okay, this is what we need. This is what the plan needs to look like. You get more buy-in when you have people coming to the table to give their input, and then you devise your plan. I started talking about this with our superintendent's council as well, and we had some suggestions from some of our team members to do some type of campaign. So we're going to start the conversation, and then whatever that conversation leads to, that's what we'll implement. I'm just asking for your support. We may need you to petition organizations that you're a part of, and ask people that that may be retired, or people that may want to donate some time for community service. This is perfect community service to come into our schools, mentor our students. We may need some extra monitoring at our schools in different areas of the building, just to make sure that students are always being monitored. So my petition to you is just you as board members and being out in the community and having constituents in different areas of the county. Whatever plan we devise, you just support it and ask people that you may know in your areas to support us as well.
Have we involved the churches? Because I feel like every church in every district needs to be notified. We need to have flyers out. I have been talking with a gentleman who worked in Charleston County dealing with children. He deals with a large variety. I would like to get him involved and also be a part of. But it would be excellent if we come up with a date, we get flyers out, and just do what we have to do for our children in Colleton County. We have to win the battle. We have an SRO coordinator who cannot cover all bases. So we all need to join in and help out.
Yes. And I, like I said, I've spoken to different businesses, and I've spoken to, I spoke to the sheriff, and, we talked about just coming together and, just being unified and working together for the good of our community. So,
we're living in a different environment.
Yeah.
I mean, I sit back and I remember being in school. It's like everyone in that school could discipline a child or knew the parent. If they asked that child to sit down, whatever happened, those days and time and it's gone. But we need to win it back.
Yes. Thank you.
Ms. Williams, can I say real quickly, I will not speak on any of that. I've already shared my support for you in all of that. I will do whatever I can moving forward. But just as you were talking about the alternative schools that you guys are going to visit, I don't know if it's possible, but I would just recommend if there's a way to include in that list the SOAR Academy in Horry County. And the only reason I say that, and I forget which conference it was, but we went to a conference and they did a whole breakout session on the SOAR Academy because it was like a state
December.
leading, was it December? It was a state leading alternative education environment. So maybe that would, and even if we can't do a visit there, if we could at least reach out to them. They had 2 leaders at that session who were very well informed and even said at that time that they would be willing to help other districts. So
right, and as I said, thank you for that, Mr. Irwin. This is something that we can't do by ourselves. So Dr. Jenkins and Mr. McNeely have been helping, and Mr. McNeely did mention SOAR Academy as well. So thank you for that.
And it was like Mr. McNeely and I were talking the other night about the some of the policies and procedures and things that we're working on. There's no sense in us reinventing the wheel, right?
Right.
If somebody's already got it figured out, we might as well just borrow everything we can instead of trying to redo it on our own.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I think there are 2, if there's
field
no
trip, yeah.
discussion, the trips, can I make a motion about the trips? Or
Did you
any other
want to do
discussion?
an update? What did you want?
Yes, I can give you some information about the trips before you vote. The first one is coming from Robin Lutton at TCTC. It's for a trip for the students to visit the Sun Belt Ag Expo, for them to go to the expo. This will occur on October 17th. They will depart and they will arrive back on October 19th. They will be traveling to Moultrie, Georgia. 12 students, 2 adults. She's outlined the itinerary. Their transportation will be the Colleton County School District minibus, and she has also outlined their hotel room accommodations as well. And then the second request is coming from Jamel Page to take a group of students to the Coastal Carolina baseball camp in Conway, South Carolina, which will take place on November 4th, and they will return on November 5th. There will be 10 students attending and 1 adult.
Before Ms. Strobel makes a motion, Superintendent Williams, can you just clarify for me on Mr. Page's request? Is 10 to 1 chaperone for 10 kids? Is that within our?
Yes,
Okay.
at the high school level is 10 to 1.
Okay, so I would just ask one further question. What happens if something happens to our adult?
Well-
Do we not need to send another adult just so we have 2?
We can, and I can request that he does that.
I just, anything could happen.
Right.
And for there only to be 1 adult there, I think we would just be better for us liability issues if we could maybe send 1 more.
Most definitely.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we accept both of these wonderful opportunities for our children, and hats off for the teachers coordinating for the farm show with the Luttons and the ag program, and for Coach Page for the baseball camp, with the recommendation that we add another chaperone for Mr. Page.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the field trip. If there's no questions, all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now have human resource. Mr. Murdoch.
This time I call Ms. Hamilton.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I do not have any updates, but if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Any questions for Ms. Hamilton?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Murdoch. We will now have finance. Ms. Strobel.
Good evening, Ms. Barrett. We look forward to hearing any updates you have on the finance report, and we will take action on the update for our revenue, our budget, and our capital projects, if you want to pull your reports.
Good evening to everyone. I have no further updates, but I can take any question that you may have.
Ms. Barrett, on the travel report, am I correct when I look at the bottom when it was printed? Thank you for the monthly travel report was printed on the 12th. So am I correct when I look at, for example, our board printout, it was printed on the 5th. So some things might not be up to date when I compare those two?
Yes, that is correct. But on your board report, yes.
Okay, thanks. And if I could get clarification, whatever way it's easy for you, I still wanted to know on the monthly travel. I know this is a new report, but if I could get clarification on the 5 negatives that appear on the travel report for August.
They're on okay, if you on the reports, the general fund always have a travel budget. The other funds are special revenue funds, and because special revenue fund, they probably have not gotten the money yet, but they're still using the fund, and they still haven't set up the budget yet on them. So if you see, it's probably no budget there, so it look like a negative, but only because they have not set up a budget yet.
If Superintendent Williams, if I could get that in writing, please, just for those 5 accounts, or if I could meet with you to review that.
Okay, we can do that for you.
Yes, we can do that.
Are there any other questions, or are we ready for action?
Ready for action?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the monthly revenue update that was presented last week.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If there is no question, all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous.
Madam Chair, on item 10.03, I would like to make a motion that we accept the monthly budget report that was presented last week.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. No question. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. So,
Madam
all
Chair.
opposed? We have one opposed.
Madam Chair, I appreciate the updates that were brought to the board about capital projects, and I'd like to make a motion that we accept the capital project report that was presented for August.
Can I get a
Second.
second? I have a motion and a second. If there is no questions, all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed? One opposed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
you.
Barrett. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Rovel. Curriculum and instruction, Mr. Irwin, we don't have.
Ms. Hedden, do we have any updates tonight? You got a piece of paper in your hand, do you have something to share? Okay, yes, ma'am. I didn't want you to have to move if you didn't have anything.
That's okay.
Okay.
No, this was just from last week. I don't have anything to share, but if you have any questions for me, I'll entertain them.
Anybody got any questions for Ms. Hedden or curriculum and instruction?
None.
Ms. Hedden, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Operation, Mr. Stavenger.
At this time, we would like to hear from Miss Ellen Fitch.
Good evening.
We don't have any updates on Mr. Hamilton. Has been really busy meeting with the architects and the engineer this week. It still has meetings scheduled for Friday before we can bring the updates. But we're here if you have any questions.
I have one question, and I don't think this is for you or Mr. Hamilton. I actually think it would fall under Mr. McNeely, but any of y'all might can answer. Where do we stand on our radio communication in the three schools, the BDAs?
So you will get an update during the executive session tonight. Mhm.
Any other questions?
Anybody else? Thank you, Ms. Fitch.
Real quick, was it something recently, was it the accreditation that we did? We got dinged on something with our buses, maybe our drivers' exams or certification. Does anybody remember that? We got dinged on something because of our transportation department.
Yes.
Do you remember?
I do remember. And it wasn't a ding. What it was is they had requested a report and was sent the previous year's report by mistake. And I'm pretty sure that was updated and they ended up receiving the accurate report.
That was my only question. Did we make sure we took care of that? That was my only question.
Yes, and now we're auditing this year, so all new reports again.
Good.
It's just one
Yes,
comment
ma'am.
in Superintendent Williams, just to be aware that we have been contacted by some local vendors that watch the board meeting, some of our local contractors, and, they heard the discussion that we are interested in using them whenever possible. So we might remember from some of the other projects we've done at the high school, Bells, Forest Hills, the renovations here. We used some local contractors, and it was a process, they reminded me, called construction management at risk. So just consider that. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I know you probably know more about it, and bring Superintendent Williams up to speed if that might be something we can consider for some of the upcoming projects, such as the roof at the high school,
Definitely.
this roof, and the middle school where we have to do mechanical stuff with electrical and
Definitely.
AC. So please, let's remember our local vendors and those processes that we've used in the past that were very successful.
Right, and they're always a consideration, and we will always look for that first.
And, I'd be interested in knowing more about that. And I know it's a timeline for some of these projects, so if we can check into that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to entertain a motion that we go into executive session. Upon returning, action may or may not be taken. We will enter executive session for 13.1, 13.02, 13.03, 13.04, 13.05, and 13.06.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we enter into executive session for item 13.01, discussion of employment matters regarding hirings and resignations. Item 13.02, receipt of legal advice regarding the Juul settlement. Item 13.03, discussion regarding the development of security devices and procedures update. Item 13.04, Act 155 diploma request. Item 13.05, receipt of legal advice concerning final school prayer discussion. And item 13.06, student admittance release, ESSER Code of Laws, Section 30-4-70.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. If there is no question, all in favor of going into executive session, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. We are now in executive session. Thank you.
Oh, no.
I would like to entertain a motion that we return to open session.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we return to open session.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. We are back into open session. Mrs. Stivender, 13.01, please.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the summary of recommendations for professional staff transfer number 1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. If there is no discussion, all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed? So 6-1. Mr. Irwin.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to report the breach of contract to the South Carolina Department of Education for the employee who was denied professional staff separation on August the 8th, 2023.
I have a motion. Can I get a second? I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair and members of the board, I just want to, and the community, I just want to share again how challenging it is in this day and age for us to provide the instructional time necessary for our students without honoring the contract. It is so important for us to have that commitment from our staff. We appreciate what our staff does, and when faced with these kind of decisions, it is always difficult, and it is something we carefully consider, but at the root of all of our consideration, and the most important thing is our students.
Thank you. If there is no more comment, all in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you. 13.02.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the settlement presented by Altria as part of the previously discussed Juul settlement.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seems none. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you. Mr. Murdoch, 13.04, please.
4 or 5? 5 is the one.
4 for the diploma.
I was supposed to do that? Okay. Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the Act 155 diploma request for the said student.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Mr. Murdoch, 13.05, please.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we do the silent prayer at the beginning of our board meetings.
I have a motion. Can I get a second, please? I will second the motion. All in favor of, if there is no discussion?
Madam Chair, for clarification, can we restate the motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we introduce silent prayer, a moment of silence for our prayer at the beginning of our board meetings.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed? The motion fails. If we have no other business of the district, may I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Good night. Well, I thought that's what you wanted.